Hey all, hello and welcome, Tony Bing here. For this beginner's guide video we will have a look at Mark Spector, and that would be Moon Knight. Now he received an update just after the biggest update ever, and he's actually pretty fantastic. Now he's got a great range build and he's got a great melee build as well, and he also retains the aspect that he had before the update, which has his risk reward mechanics with a low health build that you can actually gain extra damage from using. So he's a really interesting character. Now in this video we will cover his attributes, we'll look at his offensive and defensive traits, we'll check out a few costumes, have a look at the signature and ultimate, and then we'll finish up with some gameplay run-throughs as well. But first up, let's look at the primary attributes and the offensive and defensive traits, and we'll also check out the resource as well. So we'll start off here by looking at the offensive trait, and that's Festive Khonshu. Now with this we can already see how different the mechanics of Moon Knight actually are, which is great. Whereas many characters will normally have, let's say, maybe 3% dodge or 3% crit as part of their offensive trait, Moon Knight actually has an effect where his total damage is increased for his percent of health missing, and you can actually increase that even higher. Currently it's 0.3, you can increase it to 1% through traits, so you can really bump your damage up. The archetype for him anyway, that would be Bruiser, and that means he gains bonus damage from durability and fighting attributes. So fighting's the one to go for, given it's got the crit rating multiplier. We then have the defensive trait, and that's Carbonadium Armour. Now with this you gain damage resistance of 10% per 25% of health missing there. So really the most you're going to go up to is 75%, you're not going to hit 100, so that means you can have 30% damage resistance there. The archetype is Tough, that gives you a bonus rating multiplier to defense and deflect, and also we have the close quarters, so when you hit with a melee power you have the 8% damage reduction. So add that on to the 10% when you can get when your health is low, as well as the damage reduction you can get through your defensive stats. You can really make them pretty tanky, which is really pretty awesome. It's the way it should be, you should be able to take a hit. Now we look at the resource last, and this is Khonshu's Favour. So your primary resource is Khonshu's Favour, and with this it generates while you're in combat, never decays, and when it's full it allows you to use the Gifts of Khonshu powers, and we'll look at them when we're actually doing the gameplay run throughs at the end of the video. But with the primary attributes and the traits and so on covered, let's now have a look at a few of his costumes. First costume we'll look at then is his default, and that's his modern costume. It's a pretty simple costume, but I like the fact it's white so that he wants enemies to see him coming. That's pretty great. We then have the Marvel Now costume. This looks really great. You can see all the various armour and the space for the battens on it as well. I do like this one. And then finishing up we have the Mr. Knight costume. This is fantastic. I just love going toe to toe with enemies and beating the hell out of them while wearing a snazzy white suit. So let's now have a look at the signature and ultimate anyway. For the signature we actually have two variants of this. Now what they do is very similar, but the main difference is one of them is a melee signature, the other one is range. So this one we're looking at first, that's Gruesome Frenzy. So with it can be activated 14 times within 7 seconds. You've then got a large finishing crush at the end of it, and it's also got an execute as well. We then have a look at the ranged variant, and this is called Launcher Frenzy. So as you can see, it's the same idea. You've got activated 14 times, you've got the large hit at the end, and you've also got the execute on it as well. This one looks particularly great, but let's now have a look at the ultimate skill for him. And for the ultimate we have the Batwing, or no, that's not right, we have the Mooncopter, but you must see the similarities with Batman and Moon Knight, they really are very similar, but that's not a bad thing. It's good to get a version of Batman in the game. But onto the ultimate anyway, we have the Mooncopter. So with this it will do a physical damage dot for 20 seconds, and it slows the enemies, and the visuals on it have been updated recently, and you can see all the explosions going off and all the bullet shells, and it really does look pretty great. What we'll do, with all that out of the way now anyway, we will now have a look at the two different builds he really has, and the first one is the risk reward melee build, and then we'll follow that up with the ranged build. But let's look at the melee one first. For this run through of the Shocker Terminal then, we'll look at the melee side of things and also the risk reward mechanic where his health is drained, and as a result of that he actually gains more damage. So the primary skill we're using, that is Moonstaff. The reason I'm using this is it actually restores Khonshu's favour, which is your spirit, so we want to get that up as quickly as we can. We do have another basic, which would be an attack where he just punches the enemy and it does bonus damage to bleed, but I do prefer this one. The next skill we have is a crash down of sorts, and this is justice from above, and it will also knock down the enemy for 1.2 seconds there. We then have Crescent Snare. Now, a low tag range, this is actually great for the melee build. He throws out kind of grappling hooks in almost, and they will pull the enemies towards him, so perfect for the melee build. You can see I've just used it there, really good, and it also does weaken as well, so you're pulling them towards you and you're weakening them, so perfect combination. We would then follow that up with Cestus Uppercut, which is a large damage hit. It really does hit for a whole lot, and this will also add a bleed dot onto the enemies as well. For our main trash cleaner that we were using just a moment ago, we have Staff Sweep here. It's a pretty simple skill, but it is good at taking out trash. You can see it there. Now finally, what we'll actually look at, and this is a really unique aspect of him, is Avatar of Vengeance. So the way this works, while you build up his resource, which is Khonshu's favour, once it hits full, you can then activate the Avatar of Vengeance. Now, as you can see with this, your health is reduced to 1%, cannot be regenerated, and cannot be reduced below 1. And bear in mind what we looked at earlier in the video, that trait where you gain bonus damage based on how much health you're actually missing. So when you activate this, you'll get a ton. Another interesting aspect of this particular skill is the fact that you actually regain 0.3% of the damage you deal for when the gift expires, so you won't be stuck on that 1 health and ready to be one-shotted. You'll be able to gain a whole lot there. Now, another thing it actually has, which is pretty great, is the fact that the duration on it can be increased with how much Khonshu's favour you actually have. So if you want to stack that, you can get the duration of it way up there, so that is really nice. But let's fire off all the melee skills here on Shocker. We can see the signature we used took down a huge amount of damage on him. And there we go, that really was quite easy. So what we'll do next is we'll have a look at the range side of things, and they're actually pretty awesome as well. For this run through of the Kingpin warehouse, then we'll rock the Mr. Knight costume, which looks fantastic, and we'll show off the range side of things. Now, the main spender that we're using, that is Crescent Launchers. Now, it doesn't show on the tooltip, but through talent this will actually bounce up to 4 enemies, and it fires really quick, so this is a pretty awesome skill. You can see that there, actually bouncing off them all. We then have Explosive Crescent Dart. Now this is previously it's Crescent Dart Throw, but a talent modifies it into the explosive version, which also has vulnerability on it as well. We then have Tripwire Bolas, and these are actually pretty great because they have Immobilize, and if you're going to range build and stack in really damage, you may not be as tanky, so it's good to immobilize any enemies that are coming up to you. Next up, we have Angel Wing Attack Run, and this is great. I like that these particular skills have been put into his kit. These were put in with the biggest update ever. So with this, your glider will fly over and do a strafing run on your location. I like to use that with the Tripwire Bolas. I like to immobilise them and then follow up with the Angel Wing Attack Run. Works really well. The next skill we look at anyway, this would be Crescent Fan, and I would use this as a nice range trash clearing skill. It's just physical damage, so it's simple enough in that respect, but it does also have a bleed, so you can throw it out in a cone area and then just run away, and if it's just regular trash then the bleed should take them down. The final skill we look at then, this is the Statue of Khonshu. So this is the opposite version really of Avatar of Vengeance. Now with this, you need to have 100% maximum Khonshu's favour, and it will use it all. Once you use it, you will regenerate 10% of your max health per second, you gain 25% base damage, and you also gain a 10% critical hit chance as well. Now, similar to Avatar of Vengeance, the more of Khonshu's favour you actually have, the greater the duration of this particular skill, so it does work out really well having the health buff and the damage and the crit chance for a nice prolonged duration there. So let's fire off all these skills in Dr. Octopus anyway. You can see they really do look pretty great. And that's a nice Angel Wing Attack Run there just at the end there. So there we go, that was done. I hope that was fun. I really surprised myself running through with Moon Knight, because since the update he's been made fantastic, and I reckon in time I'll possibly even look to do a build for him as well. But for any Moon Knight fans out there, I hope this video was useful, and next up I believe we'll possibly have Doctor Strange Beginner's Guide, so keep an eye out for that. But thanks for tuning in, see you all again soon.